Hi there. I'm going to demonstrate the data collector creates issue on client user story. And this is specifically the one where the issue gets created due to a discrepancy if logic block, as opposed to it being programmatically created using the API. That will be a separate video. I've loaded up into a group the case module content set and set up this device here on the right hand side. I created a case already. I'm going to open this up and go to the registration event, and you can see that there's a form for each participant, two different forms related to creating issues. We're going to cover this, not the programmatic one, but the other one, and this uses discrepancy if. So there's some instructions here. Enter a number greater than 5 to receive a warning, then confirm to cause an issue to be created. This is using the discrepancy if. If I open this up and just take a look at this content, on this Tangy input, we can see there is a discrepancy if code block. The variable name is can cause issue to be created. And the if statement is if we have a value for that variable and the value parsed as an integer is greater than 5, then it's a discrepancy. And that's as opposed to a warning. This could also be a warn if block, in which case an issue would not be created. But because it's a discrepancy if block, we'll see an issue created. Let's try it out. So if I say value of 6, it's greater than 5, submit, I get a warning. And note that it's going to be a discrepancy due to the icon here. I think it's like an exclamation point if it's a warning. It's a flag if it's a discrepancy. Let's go ahead and submit it. And now if we upload, so under the hood here, the issue has been created, as well as the form response. And so when we sync, it pushes both of those things up. Let's go over to the editor, and under data and issues, we find that we have an issue that's been created. Let's open up this issue. Make this a bit bigger. And so right now, we just have information on discrepancy on test issue created on client. If we look at test issue created on client, that's the name of the form. So that's what you'll see here is no matter what form it comes from, you'll just see discrepancy on form name. If we open this up, we can see where that discrepancy happened. In the future, perhaps like in the description of the when the issue is opened, we could put like the exact variable names. Maybe there's more than one discrepancy created. It's really just if a discrepancy gets issued, one issue will get created. If multiple discrepancies get flagged, still just one issue will get created. So you can see what that discrepancy is. And we could close this saying like, looks good to me. And now this is marked as closed. If we go back to data and issues, now we have no issues. But if we search for closed issues, let's open it back up. Let's actually open this up and actually propose a change. Let's say we knew that this value was actually 5, or we called the person that filled out the form and they're like, yeah, it's 5. So let's reopen discussed with data collector, opening back up to enter a new value. Cool. And let's propose a change. And so we can see that currently there's 0 changes and 0 revisions. Changes is how many actual variables have changed in our current proposed, and revisions is how many times we've gone through proposals. Let's do our first one. Let's click the propose button. And And so it opens the form, and let's change this to 5. And submit. So now we can see that there's been a revision by user 1. I'm logged in as user 1, by the way. If you're logged in as your username, it should show up here. And you should see, if other people have proposed revisions, you'll see their username and when they did it. And we can see the change here. The question of enter a number, yada, 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 went from 6 to 5 is the proposal. You can also see up here, again, current in the database, it's a value of 6. If we look at proposed, it's a value of 5. And this is a top-level differences diff. So if we go through multiple iterations of making proposals, you may see differences. This difference will always be the difference between this and the last proposed version. This top level differences will be the difference between the current proposed revision and the current thing in the database. So it's sort of like, this will be if you merge this will actually be the changes that end up in the database. Let's demonstrate that. So if I propose again, and let's say, I talked to the data collector and it was like, oh, actually it was 4. We have gone now from 5 to 4. So this is the difference. This difference here is between this and the last revision. So you can see that history of not just what this proposal is from the original version, but from the last revision. So you can see that progress over time. But the last proposed revision, that's differences over here. We can see the original was 6 and the proposed is 4. Okay. So let's say someone says this looks good to me. Let's merge. I'm just going to leave a comment. I'm not going to close it. And now we want this proposed change to go back to the database and back to the client, back to the devices in the field. So we're going to click the merge button as opposed to proposing a change. Just a note here a little bit on the metrics. We have 1 variable that's changed and 2 revisions. So we know if we look at differences, it's 1 thing. If there was multiple variables that change, we'd see that listed out here, and this number would be higher. But there was 2 revisions, 1 and 2. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and merge. And we can see that user 1 merged that change in. Something I skipped over at the beginning is if you want to just view the context of this, you can review the case or the form on its own. I'm going to hold Command on Mac or Control on Windows to open this up in a new tab, and I can view the case. And so if there's some contextual information that's important for reviewing this issue, this is the way to go. Or jumping straight to the form. And this is the form in the database. Here we see now it's a value of 4 because we merged that issue and accepted the proposed change, and now the value is 4. Let's go over to client. Let's now let's sync. Oh, I'm on sync, of course. Let's restart the sync. And I just pulled some stuff down. And if we go and look at that case and open the form, we see there's a value of 4 that was changed on the server through the issues feature, and the change that was merged in propagated down to the client after sync. Cool. Thanks for watching.